Hello Internet, my name is Timothy Halloran. My website is at the link below. I am one of your fellow Earthmen, born of the Earth, made of the Earth, and influenced by the Earth. And this video I send out on the chaotic ocean of the Internet like a message in a bottle, hoping that it will reach the right people, other fellow Earth people made of the Earth, influenced by the Earth. In these videos we talk about the seasons, the cycles of change, what we can all relate to, what we can all say that we're sort of experiencing together, though each and every one of us is a beautiful, unique, individual soul. Today is September 18th, 2017, and it seems like forever since I've last talked to you. There's been a hell of a lot going on these last weeks, and it remains to be exciting throughout the rest of this year. About 3 weeks ago, I did a full moon video, and I discussed about potential water crisis. I did a shadow workshop with my teacher Kai Pacha, returned back to Savannah, and then immediately evacuated because a hurricane chased us north, back to North Carolina. And so we had just settled back down into Savannah the last several days. As you can see behind me, it's all downed trees and branches here, and we're very grateful to have been considerably lucky in this storm once again. That being said, many souls may have experienced a whole lot going on these last several weeks, beginning with our solar eclipse in Leo about a month ago. And much of what we have been experiencing these last weeks can be a foreshadowing and an anticipation of the years to come in many respects, and I'll explain some of the technical as to why. Well, an eclipse cycle takes us through the next 6 months, and now what is really the next 5 months, as this video will be talking about a new moon in Virgo just coming up in a couple days here in America on September 20th. The next 5 months, initiated by this solar eclipse in Leo, we are going to see 2 major planet shift signs, outer planets that take years to change signs. Jupiter is moving into Scorpio on October 10th, and Saturn is moving into Capricorn on December 20th. And long story short, we are getting down to business here on planet Earth in the next several years. We are having to wake up to the actual underlying real-world issues that require our real attention and real participation in order to make revisions and adjustments that are needed and necessary in order for any survival and longevity as a species on this planet. And so that's sort of happening on the mass global outer level. It's also happening in the personal inner level. And much of this last month, as the sun has transited through the sign of Virgo, has been centered upon healing, which can be evoked through experience of crises. Things not being totally perfect yet, things getting our attention and alerting us of what adjustments are needed, what revisions are needed, and that type of alerting and being made of aware that things that need to be adjusted is oftentimes experienced through crisis. Not only that, the solar eclipse a month ago was quincunx to Chiron. And this is something really important to talk about, particularly in these bi-weekly videos which focus upon new and full moons. Because for the longest time, we had new moons in the early degrees of each sign. And that new moon basically sowed a seed for the whole season of the sun transiting any particular sign. And so there was a new moon in Leo, and then the sun transited through Leo. And this is how it's been for months and months and months. However, things shifted with this last solar eclipse, which was also in the sign of Leo. There was a new moon, I believe at 0 degrees Leo, and then followed by another new moon, solar eclipse, 28 degrees Leo. And now we're having the following new moons for basically the next year being in the latter degrees of each sign. And so the sun is about to shift out of Virgo into Libra this coming Friday, September 22nd. But we have just 2 days before this new moon in Virgo that's also sowing a month-long seed that's going to take us through the Libra season. And so, Long story short, Virgo season isn't quite finished yet. This new moon in Virgo, which is on September 19th if you're in Europe, the 20th early morning if you're in the United States, this new moon is at 27 degrees and 27 minutes of Virgo. And that seed is going to take us through the following Libra season. Virgo is again about healing, purification. It can be crisis, alerting us of what adjustments need to be made. Not only that, all of these new moons going on for basically the next year are also going to be in aspect to Chiron. And this is important. This last solar eclipse was in quincunx, a 150-degree aspect to Chiron. This new moon in Virgo is opposite to Chiron. The next new moon in Libra is going to be quincunx, again, to Chiron. And then another new moon in Scorpio, trine to Chiron, followed by a new moon in Sag, square to Chiron, so on and so forth. All of these new moons are aspecting Chiron as Chiron completes its transit of Pisces moving into Aries throughout 2018. This says a lot about culmination and completion. Jupiter's about to transit out of Libra, Saturn out of Sagittarius, Uranus out of Taurus. There is culmination, completion, wrapping up, and getting ready to initiate fundamentally new patterns. Now, these new moons being in the later degrees of these zodiac signs also says something about maturity and mastery. The early degrees of each sign are very innocent, naive, spontaneous. Let's go off and set out and learn this new sign. And now we are ending each season. Sun's about to complete Virgo season and move into Libra on Friday, but as that happens, the new moon happens. The new moon is a key frame, an important moment in time, which will take us through the next month. And so we're still refining, we're still purifying, we are integrating Chiron in Pisces, opposite to a new moon in Virgo. This is about healing, our soul's purpose, and uniting our own body, our rituals, our routines, our hobbies, what we are doing in this earth with those deeper dreams and with that deeper purpose, which is an initiation to healing. Because that's what the spiritual journey is all about. We've also got Mercury still in Virgo, Venus is going to enter Virgo tomorrow, and Mars is in Virgo for approximately the next month. Mercury and Venus in Virgo is like, hey, what are we actually doing? Like, what is our service? What is our work? What are we actually practically doing to achieve our dreams? Because all three of these planets transiting Virgo are about to form oppositions to Neptune these next couple weeks as well. Mercury is opposite to Neptune now, exact tomorrow the 19th. Then Mars opposite to Neptune this coming weekend, Sunday the 24th. And then Venus opposite to Neptune at the end of the month, September 29th. This is a bridge between Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, where Neptune is right now, and Virgo, the earth priestess, the earth maiden, the devoted servant, and in many respects the human being, the human vessel, the human body. And so Mercury and Venus, what are we actually doing? How are we going to bridge those Neptunian dreams and goals and aspirations with our real life in real time reality? And Mars moving through Virgo is like, what are we actually doing? How are we actually making this work? How are we spending our time and our energy? Where is our willpower and our direction going? And this is taking us into a period where we are really coming into figuring out what is my spiritual truth. This is Saturn completing its transit of Sagittarius. And how are we participating in our world and global situation in a way which is actually meaningful and motivating change? And Jupiter moving into Scorpio from October of this year to November of 2018, followed by Saturn moving into Capricorn for the next 2.5 years, beginning in December of 2017. We are getting down to business. We are figuring out what spirituality, what being a human being is all about in this day and age. What are the actual worldly issues, problems, creative blockages that we are dealing with and confronting at this time? And so generally with that Neptune, again in Pisces, opposite these planets in Virgo, the opposition is about creating a bridge, a dimensional bridge here. How are we bridging our goals, our dreams, our sense of purpose, our spiritual truth, Neptune in Pisces, with our actual call to healing and service, Virgo? Our hobbies, our rituals, our routines, our relationships, how are they actually working? And this opposition can be a time of seeing how fractured they really are from one another, our dreams, our hopes, our goals away from reality. Or this can be a period of manifestation, really finding those rituals, those relationships, those connections, those routines that are working. Really devoting ourselves to a cause that is meaningful and getting the ball rolling and having a reason to wake up in the morning that is not severed from our spiritual goals, our spiritual truth. It's all interconnected. That's the opportunity here. This new moon in the final degrees of Virgo, opposite to Chiron, is about bridging our own healing journey. Healing our soul's innocence, healing our soul's truth is Chiron in Pisces. With the actual work, service, time spent, and energy used in our moment-to-moment human life. And it is all about being a human being right now. This is the North Node in Leo through the next year. Be a human being. You don't have to be enlightened. You don't have to be perfect. God knows if we try to be perfect right now, it's going to be a humbling time. These are Virgo lessons. Nobody is perfect. Nobody has the cat completely in the bag. Nobody has their truth completely figured out. Those people who proclaim they have everything figured out, they're enlightened, they know their truth, they know the way, and they've got it figured out, and that's it. They're not moving. This is what we need. This is what the whole world needs. I have a tremendous amount of doubt for those people because I have never personally observed people saying those things that weren't in huge amounts of denial or inauthenticity, so on and so forth. We're never finished purifying, improving our own truth, our own work, what we're doing in life. Nobody is perfect. That's the high octave Virgo lesson. I'm not perfect, therefore I have the opportunity to improve. I'm not perfect, so I have the opportunity to make things better and better and better and better and better and better. That's a real gift, is it not? Having the opportunity to live in a reality that is always getting better, far more exciting and inspiring than living in a life where everything's just a flat line. Oh, this is how it is. Oh, here's the medicine that everybody needs. I've got it figured out. No, we're all evolving. This is about evolution. This is about improvement. It's about taking the spiritual truths that inspire and motivate us and figuring out how to make them work for us and others in always improving and getting better and better ways. So let's think of some examples of this. There's too many of them in the New Age spiritual astrological circles and communities. You know, we're very focused. We're coming out of this age of Pisces that's been about blind faith, good people put themselves last, sacrifice yourself, get slapped in the face. You know, these are misconceptions coming out of Pisces that lead to many souls being depleted, disappointed, manipulated by the outside, thrown under the bus. And so many of us are trying to rectify these spiritual issues, which is the work of transiting through ages, by the way, coming into this age of Aquarius. Our spiritual popular truths are going to go through a huge revolution. And so we're trying to get back into, you know what, this earth matters. You know, it's like we're not just going to die, go to heaven and screw this earth. Again, we're made out of the earth. The earth and its seasons directly affect us, whether we're aware of that or not. And so our bodies matter, our health matters, how we feel matters, physically and emotionally. And these are sort of newer spiritual concepts that we're introducing and we're practicing. But there's always a balance. Neptune opposite to Venus, Mercury, Mars is inviting a balance between Pisces and Virgo. And it's like we can get too lost in Virgo, and that's when we start to hyperanalyze and dissect, oh, am I living up to my routine? I said I was going to go on this diet. Or, of course, astrologers tend to hyper-focus the technical. Oh, well, look at this. In 5 minutes, you know, Venus is going to be semi-sextile to Jupiter. Oh, it's going to be a great day. And we get lost in details. We get lost in these little bits and pieces, and then we berate ourselves for not being perfect. Oh, I said I was going to do it this way, and I'm being inflexible. Or I'm being too flexible. Oh, shit. Oh, I was going to do this routine and I don't feel like it, and so I'm being bad, I'm impure, I'm tainted, so on and so forth. And it's like we have to integrate the emotional body. Be in your emotions. It's okay that your emotions change. We're trying to create rituals and structures and things that also make us feel safe in our body, in our emotional body. But it's like we can get so lost in self-care, or there's this yoga that makes me feel good, and there's this practice that makes me feel cleared, and then the whole spiritual game gets turned into feeling good and feeling cleared and being happy, as if that's what spirituality is about, being happy. And many people get misled by this notion. Oh, it's about being happy and feeling good in my body at all times. And when you're enlightened, you always feel good. And it's just total bullshit. It's really, it can be an unhealthy idea, concept out there. You know, here's the point. Spirituality is all about healing. We want to heal this earth. We want to heal our humanity. We want to heal our broken and belittled and outspoken brothers and sisters, which calls us to positions of charity and service and humble, giving type of work. That should be the only measure of spirituality. I mean, I think of these Ram Dass stories that are, for some reason, not that well circulated compared to the other ones. People go up to his guru, Maharaji, hey Maharaji, how do I raise my kundalini? And he says, go and feed people. Go and clothe people. Do some charity work. You're sitting and meditating for hours as if that's doing any good for the world. There is a balance to feeling clear and opened up and in tune in our body, so we can be in tune with nature and we can be strong, powerful souls out there in the world. So keep doing your yoga, keep doing your practices, and then don't be satisfied with them as if that's enough. I mean, that's the whole thing, is like, let dissatisfaction be a fuel for us. That's how we can use the Virgo hypercritical and being aware of what's not perfect in a way that's allowing for evolution and improvement, as if that was the point of life and what it means to be a human being. I'm telling you, this is getting closer to the truth. And Saturn and Sagittarius completing this 2.5-year transit, it's like, know your truth. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. You don't have to agree with other people, but my opinion and my preaching that I'm going to put out there for you is it actually healing? Is it healthy? How is these practices or these truths or these communities actually allowing for truly practical, testable, clear as day healing and improvement? Is it happening? You know? It's like during Saturn and Sagittarius, this whole flat earth theory really got blown up, and there's like more astrologers defending the flat earth theory than there are astrologers devoted to using astrology for healing. Come on! Does the flat earth theory help us to heal? Maybe it does. Maybe I'm missing something. And that's fine, you know, people can respond and do whatever, but this is what it should come down to, is it actually practically healing the earth by our conceptual understanding that the earth may be on a flat plane? How is that helping you or anybody? How is that spiritual truth or that spiritual teaching helping you or anybody? And if it is not helpful in a practical, tangible, testable, provable way, maybe it's time to find something that is actually helpful in a practical, tangible way. I mean, Saturn's about to move into Capricorn. It's time to get down to earth. It's time to get down to business. Even if that business is explaining the things that other people don't want to explain, or telling the truths that are difficult truths to say. Saturn in Capricorn is like, I will do it if nobody else will. I'll do the dirty work if nobody else will. Because this work has to get done. And we can't just believe ourselves into the future or make ourselves feel good in our own body and as if that's just going to rub off on everybody else, you know. It's this idea that if I raise my kundalini and raise my consciousness enough, then I'll just show up around a group of people and it'll automatically inspire and uplift them. And I'm saying we've got to do better than this. We've got to like figure out what we're actually doing in the world that is improving and touching other people's lives in a tangible, practical way. And guess what? There's more than enough jobs that need to be filled in this endeavor. People need clothes, people need food, people need shelter, people need clean water. Even in the United States, people still go without these things. There's all of these global crises that have just gone on. Hurricanes, earthquakes. Do we think that this is about to end anytime soon? I've got news for you. This is like a collective worldly alarm clock that's not even going off yet. It's going to be going off these next 2 years, and it's not like wake up and smell the coffee, it's time to start your day. It's like wake up, we should have been doing this stuff 10 years ago. And so this is some of the experiences that this, you know, Virgo period that's still going on is happening. And yet the sun is moving into Libra from September 22nd to October 23rd. And it's like we're getting down to business, we're doing this work, and we can be connecting, we can be collaborating with other souls on your wavelength that understand your truth and are motivated to do similar work, which is not going to be everybody. Saturn and Sag, we've been arguing our philosophies, our truths, our ontologies for the last 2.5 years. Now it's time to get down to business. And so here's the big culminating transit is Jupiter is opposite to Uranus. These next several weeks, it's exact on September 28th, but it's carrying us through the next couple months, really, if we want to use a wide orb. And then Jupiter moves into Scorpio October 10th. Jupiter opposite to Uranus. This is a time of realization, new discoveries, inventions, eureka moments, breakthroughs. Discovering our own unique and individual truths, inspiring us to get in connection and move with other souls. And this isn't saying like you need to push a boulder up a mountain, you know, Sisyphus style. It can start small and it can grow, but connect with the souls that are on your level, that share those truths, and let's figure out what can we do to actually improve and better people's lives. Because all of us just huddling together in the fan groups and giving each other pats on the back for being good boys and girls is not enough. And not enough people are really speaking out bluntly about, well, hard, cold reality is just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not the apocalypse. This isn't to scare anybody, but it's just like, hello, we have to do this. That's going to be the situation here. How are we working with this season? Using astrology in a practical, useful way as this season is coming, how are we going to go with the flow of it instead of fighting against the grain? And I'm telling you, one way to fight against the grain is, oh no, it's all good. Too much Neptune. Oh yeah, it's all good. Everything's fine. Everything's love and light. And so I'll just stay in my bubble. No, no, no. That is actually a cop-out of awakening a heart to compassion more than believing that you are a loving person because you can keep a smile on your face for a longer duration than what is truly healthy if you're awake on this planet. We don't need to be smiling all the time. Do your yoga, do your meditation, do your spiritual practices enough to raise up your own consciousness into being inspired, energy full, healthy feeling, good feeling in our bodies enough to come to action, to come alive, to step into your authority as a catalyst of change in this world, because there's not enough leaders, there's not enough catalysts. This Jupiter opposite to Uranus is let divine dissatisfaction inspire us to evolve our own personal truth and philosophy. Evolving our own philosophy and truth in this day and age is some of the deepest, most underlying work, because it opens up the floodgates to what is possible by changing what our reality is all about. This reality is about being a human. Come down into your body, come down into your ego, start paying attention to what you're feeling, what upsets you, what gets you going. That's telling a story about who you are. And then being motivated by that story, you can participate in the world by seizing your individual story, your individual truth and power in a way which is inspiring and uplifting to others. And it's not going to be the same as everybody else's. You can't just take Guru so-and-so's word on it and repeat it a million times in your head as if that's it. That's all you need. Your truth is going to be unique. Your service is going to be unique. Every human being is needed in all departments. All hands on deck. All hands on deck is Virgo time, followed by Capricorn time. All of these new moons aspecting Chiron. All hands on deck. What are you healing and purifying in yourself will be the healing and purifying that you're offering back to others. Let that inspire you into your work. This is a time where there is an extra capacity for hard work. Venus and Mars in Virgo. This is a time of actualizing and aligning our will, our connections, our interests, and our hobbies with our dreams. This is a time of manifesting our dreams and our goals. The opportunity with bridging Pisces and Virgo is real alchemy. It's like, let's get this to work. Let's make the magic happen. Magic can happen. We can anchor it into reality. We can manifest these goals and these dreams. Not just in a conceptual or idealistic way, waiting for the Savior to do it for us, waiting for the ascension date to come for us, so on and so forth. Jupiter completing his transit of Libra, going on these next several weeks, is like, finish making those connections. Connect with those souls that you want to do this work with. Start forming those groups. Start forming those connections. Get together. And then we're coming out of idle chit-chat. Jupiter goes into Scorpio, and it's like we're getting down to business. We're making things actually move forward. This is not just like picking up the microphone and being just like, this is how I learned to feel good. This is like what the majority of the New Age movement is. This is how I learned to feel good. This is how I learned to manifest everything in my life. It's like that is one part of it. That can be a part of your teaching. But this is not a one-size-fits-all world. It's not going to work the same for everybody else. And it's more than just figuring out how we felt good and felt happy in our life. That's not what the spiritual journey is about. The spiritual journey is when we become individualized first. First, you got to separate from your parents who conditioned you with this voice of what you're expected to do. And when you radiate too much power, too much uniqueness, you're too weird, you're too ungrounded, shut that part down. Become grown up. And so we start looking to our parents for approval, and they determine how much of success or a pass or a fail we are. And then we grow up and we project that parental influence onto our peers. And it's like healers start looking to other healers. Hey, how's my healing going? Oh, it's going good. We come together and we do this workshop and it's all great. Oh, how's my, my astrology going? And we come together with other astrologers. Oh, mine's going good. Is yours going good? Oh, good. And it's like we're doing the same thing. We're looking for approval from outside people. And it's like, that's wonderful. We need to feel confident. We need to feel mature in what we're doing. Yes, it is real. Yes, it is powerful. Keep going. This is the period of it's working, so do it and keep going. Oh, it's not working, so make some adjustments and don't lose hope. It's fine. Everybody is imperfect. We're all learning through trial and error. That's what this life is about. It's not a pass or fail final judgment. It's a journey of exploration. You're doing great. A million mistakes turns into one brilliant discovery that makes all the mistakes worthwhile. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And it's like, let's come together and support one another and then give each other the motivation to keep going. It can get better. It can be more productive. It can touch more people's lives. We need to be creative, North Node in Leo, by recognizing your individuality and get some approval. And don't even get approval. Just prove it to yourself that it works. Your healing modality works. You put your hands on somebody, it changed their life. What more proof do you need? And you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. Okay. Beautiful. It's real. The truth, the spiritual goals, the spiritual dreams, the healing possibilities, they are real. Keep going. Keep going. How are you going to reach more people? How are you going to refine it to make it even better? How are we actually going to address these very real world issues that need more people jumping on deck and participating in the healing of this planet Earth? The spiritual journey is one and the same as the spiritual journey is Chiron wisdom. This new moon tomorrow, Wednesday, September 20th, 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time, opposite to Chiron. Integrate that healing journey. Your personal healing journey is your personal spiritual journey. Anchor that healing journey with your work, your purpose, your meaning, and how you can share all of the skills and traits that have come out of your own healing journey. It began with a wound. All of us are wounded souls in this day and age. The ones who believe that they are totally healed are oblivious. Truth. The healing journey inspires us to become healers of the world. What begins as a wound initiates us into healing that wound, initiates us into the tools, the discoveries that allow us to share our own personal healing journey with the world in a way that inspires and uplifts others. I say this all the time. It's the Chiron wisdom, and apparently I'm just going to have to be repeating it through at least the next 6 months because all of our following new moons are aspecting Chiron. This is a major opportunity for us to get our shit together as a collective before Chiron moves into Aries next year, initiating the warriors and the leaders of the new age. And so, I absolutely wish you all the best in that endeavor. As I always say, I hope it wasn't too heavy-handed. My intention is never to berate any particular souls. But when I talk to a group, it's very different than when I talk one-on-one. When I'm talking to a group, it's just like, hey, world, woo, we better get some stuff going, you know, and when we're talking individual, it's more delicate and calm and, oh, I see you, soul, and, you know, and so hopefully that can be a little bit understood. It's always a pleasure and an honor to do this work. As always, I'm forgetting bits and pieces, and so let me inject some things here at the end. Because it's too impossible to talk about all of these things and talk about, you know, the meaning and essence and give examples of it at the same time. Asteroid Pallas Athena in Taurus in a grand trine with Mars, with Mercury, and with Pluto. Tremendous opportunity to align our willpower with practical transformation, for us to be anchoring brilliant new ideas. This is Jupiter opposite to Uranus as well, that practically work and cause practical, real world, earth, tangible, provable change. Discoveries that catalyze that change. And since we're talking so much about Virgo, asteroid Vesta, the Virgo asteroid, is moving into Cancer at the same time of this new moon, which is also placing some focus on our own emotional feelings, how we're working intimately with others in closed, safe spaces. We have to feel safe before we can do healing work. We have to be comfortable with the stuff that's not totally fun and games before we can do healing work. We have to be with souls that we trust and that we feel like we can open up the full spectrum truth with first, before we can open up, before we can be vulnerable. And the practice of healing is about being vulnerable. This is the work of our day and age. And so that Vesta is bringing us, allowing us to focus on making ourselves feel safe and connecting with intimate souls, creating safe space for healing to happen. And simultaneously, we have asteroid Ceres in Cancer, the mother nurturing Cancer-like asteroid, square to Uranus, which is like, how do we get this safety and intimacy in our emotional sphere, in our own home environment, our own safe space, and simultaneously be free, be independent, do the work that we want to do. And there's a lot of opportunity for that type of creative solutions to bridge the two to happen. But we have to make sure that we're not rebelling against our family or our close, intimate souls to do our, to do our individual work. It's really about bringing all of these dimensions together. And that's the opportunity. We're doing stitching, we're doing weaving, And we're bridging together the world of goals, dreams, the spiritual reality of all is bliss and all is unconditional love with this world that is suffering, that is in pain. Few souls want to be connected to this earth because it is painful to see the suffering on this planet. And we've got to create a bridge. We've got to anchor that spiritual reality with the healing necessity of this day and age. And so again, I wish you all the best in that endeavor. Please leave your comments below. Feel free to stir some conversation, and we'll get to co-creating and developing together from this point onward. Take care.